I'd like to introduce Mr. John Afezi Apia. Oh, I thought you'd give him a round of applause. He's seated in the middle, and we heard from him yesterday, and it's an honor to have him again. Mr. John Afezi Apia is the CEO of A-League Consult. He's into public speaking and communications. He's worked with the British High Commission of Ghana and very reputable media channels also in Ghana. He's also a fellow of the Yali Fellowship. He's also a lover of the youth. He likes to inspire and motivate the youth. Mr. John Afezi Apia, thank you once again. Secondly, I would like to introduce to the left of Mr. John Afezi Apia, the one and only Dr. Kofi Osei-Kusi. I know you all love him. He's a very busy man. I can see he's quite tired, but he's made time off his busy schedule to be here with us, and we really appreciate you. So I know a part of the delegation went to visit him at the Osei-Kusi Foundation, and I'm sure you've learned a lot of what he does. He is the author of several books. He's a philanthropist. He is the founder of the Osei-Kusi Foundation, which is impacting lives of youth globally. Recently he was in South Africa, and I know he made a lot of impact there. His mantra, his life mantra actually is, I live to die for the youth. That's his life mantra. And I believe you're going to experience more of that tonight. So that's Dr. Osei, Kofi Osei. A round of applause for you, please. And to my immediate left hand, that's to the right of Mr. John Afezi Apia, is Reverend P.K. Emiaba for the first time on Elders Forum, all the way from Nigeria. Wow, Nigerians in the building. So, he is the National Executive Council of the Assemblies of God Nigeria and chairman of Assemblies of God Premier School. That is Reverend P.K. Emiaba for us. You're welcome, sir. Good to have you on the Elders Forum. So I'm going to take over discussions to start with. I'm your moderator, Kali Metal-Adu. There will be a time of interaction, Q&A session, and so we'll do well to rope you in to also put your questions to the elder. Thank you very much. To the elders. Okay, so good evening once again, distinguished delegates. Good evening, my elders. Good to have you here. To start with, I would like to start from my extreme left, where we have Dr. Kofi Osei-Kusi. Doc, please, our theme for this year's Iydc, as we all know, is Youth Empowerment for Sustainable Development. Yesterday you spoke on the topic and were really inspired. Can you please do a bit of reiteration, just a brief of that?
Hello? Hi. Are you guys alive? Well, it's exciting to be back here. It's an honor to serve young people. I've been introduced, but I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kofi the Kangaroo. K for kangaroo. I'm a kangaroo. I'm a kangaroo because for 5 years I worked for the Australian government as consular manager. And you know, in Australia there are more kangaroos than human beings, right? There are more kangaroos than human beings. And they are quite a protected species. And I'm a kangaroo because the kangaroo has a pouch, a little pouch, where it carries the baby. And the baby is called a joey. I'm a kangaroo because I was born with a pouch, and a pouch that carries young people. I can sit here for the next 6 hours, not saying a word, just look at your faces, and I'm going to leave satisfied. Because you guys are just incredible. I tremendously believe in young people, and I believe in Africa. And I believe that Africa is so blessed, and yet we're so struggling, right? And so yesterday, you wanted to recap. Yesterday, I think all I was trying to do is, based on the topic that I was given about who is an outstanding African youth, what is the quality of an outstanding African youth, I tried to bring across 8 attributes of this outstanding African youth. But today, I just want to emphasize only one of those attributes. And I think that was the 6th one. I spoke about philanthropy and humanitarianism. For me, if we're going to see a change in Africa, we need selfless people. Young people that are willing to lay down their lives. People that are willing to die for this continent. So I spoke about entrepreneurship, thinking like an entrepreneur. I spoke about leadership and character. I spoke about all of them. If you have all of those ones, and you're not willing to be selfless, to die for other people, we're not going to see a change on this continent. Before this session, I was speaking with a team from Nigeria, for instance, and I love every country on this continent, but I like a comment that one person made that said, almost every Nigerian wants to go outside and make it. And I know that almost every young person in Ghana, most young people in Ghana want to do the same. Why does everyone want to go out? Because it's so tough here. But I hope that we're going to have some young people in this room that are going to be willing to die for this continent.
I'll skip John, and then I'll move to Reverend Emiabe, coming all the way from Nigeria. Good to have you, Daddy. Okay. Sir, may I know, can you please introduce yourself, tell us about yourself and what you do?
In the first place, I want to thank the organizers of this great program for the youth of Africa. I cannot thank them enough for what they are doing. I count it an honor and a privilege to be here, and I'm brought to this seat to say something. My name is P.K. Imaba. I hail from Nigeria, from Abia State in Nigeria. Presently, I'm one of the leaders of Assembly of God Nigeria. I serve at the Executive Council of Assembly of God Nigeria. I am the board chairman of the Premier College of Assembly of God Nigeria, the Divinity School of Nigeria. I'm also the board chairman. I'm the national board chairman of the men's department, Assembly of God Nigeria, and I also am a member of the board that sees about the care for the retired people, the HMBS. I'm the past, because I stepped aside last December for Aba North District Superintendent. So I'm happy to be here. I run a camp meeting, Reformers Global Prayer Network, the Reformers. So the Lord laid the burden in my heart for the youth.
So John, you've had some considerable experience in the area of communication and a bit of diplomacy as well. Just tell us a bit about what you do, yes, and then how far you've come. What are some of the values that helped you come this far?
All right, thank you very much. Good evening to all of you. I'm very happy to see you. Well, I had a lot of experience in the area of communication, in the sense that right from my infancy, I identified that I had the ability to engage with people and talk with people and communicate with people. Now, the way it all happened for me started from a point of misfortune. I went to senior secondary school and I read science. My ambition at that time was to become a medical doctor. So when I graduated from school, had good results, and was waiting to receive admission into the university to pursue my desire to become a medical doctor. Unfortunately, that year, I didn't gain admission into the university. So I was very broken, I was very shattered, and I just didn't know what else I could do. Then a friend of mine walked into the house one day and said, instead of wasting my time crying over the fact that I was unable to go to the university that particular year, why don't I find a school to teach in, to while away the time and then apply the following year? So I took the advice.
John, sorry for cutting you out. I know your late dad was a medical doctor by profession. So were you actually following his footsteps, or you actually wanted to be a medical doctor?
That's a critical question you've asked, but I'll be very honest with you. So my late dad was a medical doctor. My elder sister is also a medical doctor. And in this part of the world, when you happen to be sharp and intelligent, everybody assumes you have to become a medical doctor. So I was virtually pushed and massaged into that particular area, but as long as I didn't really know what I wanted to do with myself, but because at that point I was making the grades, it was like a family heritage, everybody wants to become a doctor. So for me, I was very disappointed when I didn't get access into the university. But like I was saying, I went into a school to teach, and that's why I realized that I was passionate about people, I was passionate about passing on information and knowledge to other people, and I realized that that whole ambition I had at that point to become a medical doctor wasn't really what I was supposed to become. So that 1 year staying home, waiting to apply the following year, changed a lot of things about me. And I just want to encourage you, sometimes you may have your own plans and ambitions, but things may not go the way you want. But the point is that even in the midst of the difficulty, you can pick up some valuable lessons that can forever change your life. And for me, I am glad I stayed home 1 year, because at the end of the day, I can boast of students that I taught who are now medical doctors. In fact, my late dad passed away in 2018. So I took over running the hospital in Koforidua. Just about 3 months ago, one of the doctors I hired to do locum was somebody I taught in school. And for me, it was very interesting because he sees me and calls me Sir John. And I'm like, boss, you are the doctor, I'm not the doctor. But the point is that my 1 year stay at home changed a lot of things about me. So I decided to further my ambitions with regards to engaging with people and then all that. So ultimately, I went back to school. I did political science, sociology, history, and philosophy. I didn't understand why I was doing these things, but I just did those things because I felt it was going to give me a bit of understanding into the world. So after I graduated from that, I went back to school to read a master's in communication studies, and that's where I diverted into the media. I worked with Joy FM, I worked with the British High Commission. That was my introduction into the world of diplomacy. I used to think that diplomats were people that were appointed by their governments to represent the government in other countries. But my engagement with the British High Commission, for me, drew my attention to the fact that I may not necessarily receive an appointment from my government to represent my government in another country. But so long as I do whatever I'm doing very well, I will remain an ambassador for my country.
Great experience, worth sharing. Thank you, John. I'll move back to Dr. Osei-Kwesi. Doc, you are an icon, not only in Ghana, but Africa and globally. I mean, we're getting there, you are there. May I please ask you, what are some of the major challenges you faced in life? How did you handle them to rise this far?
Right. Well, generally, I think I'm a terrible optimist. One of the things that drives me is I'm not just overly positive, but I'm overly thankful. I'm the sort of person that no matter what happens, I look for the good in it, and I'm thankful for that. Even when something bad happens to me, the first thing I'll start doing is thank you. I'm just super thankful. I think everything that happens to you in life is for a good purpose. And you can choose to complain about it, or you can choose to look for the good in that situation and move on. You have many challenges in life, but I think that they come our way to build us up, to develop us. So what are some of the challenges I have encountered? I think it's just personal development. I've worked heavily on myself. Example, I used to be a heavy introvert. I don't believe in the temperaments thing. Some of you are super big on temperaments. some are this, choleric and sanguine and all of that. I don't super believe in that. Because I've seen myself move from what they call like a real introvert to becoming like on the other side. I used to be the sort of person who couldn't talk to 3 people standing at the time. I couldn't talk to 3 people. But now give me like 10,000 people, I'll be super excited. So I've gone through that process. It's about learning. You know, you may be raised up in a background where everything's putting you down, but you can work hard to become a better person. All right. So I think the greatest challenge is the challenge of changing myself to become the sort of person that I want to be. And so it's about learning. It's about improving myself. I've always asked myself, do things happen to you because you prepared for it, or it was just meant to happen to you? I have found that both of that is true. When you start preparing yourself for a position, that position becomes available for you. Right? So you were there, you were like, okay, I want to get married, I want to be happily married, whatever. And when you start like preparing for that thing, start putting A, B, C together, start changing yourself to become the kind of person you want to be, suddenly those doors begin to open. Like, okay, so I want to speak at the United Nations. I've always wanted to be in the UN. I've always wanted to show up there, whatever. So you start preparing yourself, start working hard on yourself. What does a person who wants to go to the UN look like? What does a person who wants to go global look like? What kind of skills do I need? Do I need to be a good communicator? Like 20 years ago, I hired good communicators, sat under them, teach me how to talk, teach me how to speak in public, teach me how to dress. One of my late mentors, he passed away. He was quite a wealthy person, lived not quite 10 minutes from this place. I went to him like 8 years ago, like, teach me how to walk. Because he was a big-time former diplomat with the African Development Bank. Teach me how to walk. Teach me how to wear a tie the global way. Teach me how to shake hands. So you prepare yourself for that kind of a future, and that future shows up to you. So what is the greatest challenge? It's just working on myself to change to become the kind of person that I want to be.
Continuous and consistent learning, very key to development in life. Okay. So I'll now come over to Reverend Amiaba. Sir, you've come very far in life. I believe you've spent a lot of years on this, at least in comparison to most of us here. I'd like to know, so far in life, are there any experiences or any things you wish you had done that you didn't do in life so far? Are there any regrets?
Thank you very much. I've come to know that any situation you find yourself, somehow God allow you to start from there so that you learn. And when I started, I was born in the rural community, and my father had planned and believed that I should be well read and well educated, well exposed. But my father died early. After that, the war also, I went back, I was in the school, the war started. And after the war, I went back to school. As I went back to school, things were still difficult. Coupled with my faith, my relations didn't want my faith. I'm coming to what you asked me. They asked me to denounce my faith so that I'll be trained. I said no. My father was a businessman. I have to go back to business. And my father's business counterparts have to help me and support me. I went into business. I started doing well. I abandoned reading. When we went into business, the thing started flourishing. Before I answered the call to go to seminary school about 42 years ago, I was already in business. I was doing well. One thing I regretted is that as I didn't know that someone can be in business and still go back to school. It didn't occur to me that you can be in business, go to school on weekends or in evenings. It occurred to me. So I spent many years, except when I had a revelation that I should go to school, I should leave the business. So that's one of the things that I regretted. And when I went to, when I graduated from the Bible College, I started pastoring. I started teaching young ones to go to school. No matter what we are doing, even if you have a handwork or you are serving somebody, you have to go to evening school. As I continued to encourage people, and as they were being trained, people started loving and tell stories about me. Now, if I see anybody who says he believes in Jesus or he submitted himself to God, the next thing I think is, what will he be doing about his future? So that is what led me to entrepreneurship. I teach entrepreneurship, I teach capacity building. The first book I wrote on the price of greatness. That book was one of the things that projected me. Greatness has a price. Until you pay the price for greatness, you may not be able to be great. One of the prices you must pay is you must learn to sit down. There are many young people who cannot sit down.
Very typical of us, I know.
If you cannot sit down in the workshop, you cannot sit down in the business, in the business place, you cannot sit down in the classroom, forget being great.
Simple as that. Okay, so I'll move on to John, Mr. Iydc here. You're part of the Yali network, or you're a fellow, if I should put it that way. And we've heard of some of the work Yali is doing. Can you throw a little more insights into it?
All right. So I think what the Yali program seeks to do is to identify young Africans who potentially will rise to the point where they can bring change into the society. So like the US ambassador said yesterday, there are about 3 approaches to it. There's one that takes people to Washington for them to study for about 6 weeks. There's one that is done at the regional centers. I happen to be part of those who got some training at the Regional Leadership Center at Gimpa. And then there's one that is done online as well. So 3 approaches, and as long as you are eligible in terms of your age and you apply, you go through the process, and then you may be picked, or you can get the opportunity to receive training under the Yali training. But for me, one of the significant things I learned from my Yali experience is the power of networking. Because I realized that the difficulties we have faced in our nation, Ghana, if we sit together as Africans, we have a common problem or common problems we are dealing with. And an approach somebody may have adapted in another country that helps solve the problem may be something you can learn from and make 1 or 2 changes in order to also help your country. So I realized that for us as young people, if we indeed want to make a lot of impact, we need to learn to work together. Enough of the solo attitude. I just want to do it alone. I want to be recognized for this. If we can learn to work with each other, I think there's so much more that we can do. I'll give you just 2 examples. So one thing I picked from Dr. Kusi, which I think is important, was that at this point, we should not be too much fixated about money, about cash. Because you see, when you are driven just by the fact that you want to make money, buy a house, buy a car, and all that, it will limit your ability to make impact. So I'll share a very live example with you. So I was asking myself, after senior high school, how do we prepare young people to be able to make quality decisions? How do we prepare them to even be able to identify career opportunities? How do we prepare them to understand that as young as they are, there are some essential soft skills that they need to gain? So I decided to do something with my NGO called the African Chamber for Youth Development. We decided to run a project we call Preparing Young People for the Future. So the National Youth Development Bootcamp. When I came up with the idea, I was expecting to have a lot of companies run to me, giving me money to run the project. But I said to myself, with or without the support of the government, with or without the support of private entities, I will pull together my own resources together with some friends and some other corporate organizations, and we'll decide to make impact in the lives of the young ones. The great vision is that for every country in the West African region that writes the WASI exams, we'll do this boot camp to prepare them to face the future. You'll be surprised to meet a senior high school graduate and ask the person about something like a CV, and we'll ask you what subject is called CV. They have no idea about it. And like I said in my story, after senior high school, I was able to work as a teacher, and I was able to earn something for myself and build my public speaking skills. So there's a lot that young people after senior high school can do. But it appears the government may have their own agenda, free SHS in my government. People are happy about it. But after SS, I think that's where the critical decisions will be taken. So how do we equip and prepare young people at that stage to be able to make impact? So I started my own initiative, and I know that in the course of time, it will catch up. Other people will begin to understand, and we are ready and willing to partner with other countries to be able to run this project on our own. Don't just wait for the government to do something. You can do something for yourself.
So before we move into the question and answer segment, I'll have our last one with Reverend Amiaba. Reverend, I hear and understand you have an upcoming conference in Nigeria, an international one for that matter. I believe that throughout your life, you stated earlier that there were some things you wished you had done. And so what is this conference about? What's the vision? And what are some of the things you'll be tackling at the conference to be of benefit to the youth who will be attending?
Thank you very much. Some of the things we're going to speak, emphasize on every African youth, everyone in Africa has a gift. Our youth, there are endowments, there are gifts in their life. Everyone has to sit down, take inventory, know the area of your gift. Know it. There are gifts upon your life. If you want to develop it, it will not take too long because it's already embedded. You inherited it. God endowed it into your life. If you want to, let me use. Let's talk about skillful in tailoring. I just want to. If you know that you are skillful, let's assume you are a tailor. Let your eye be how I will be #1 tailor in Accra. If you are #1, that's what they're going to emphasize them. If you are #1 tailor in Accra, and if you are called, if there is an interview and you become #1, don't be satisfied. When they say they want #1 tailor in Ghana, when all the tailors gather, be courageous and become #1. That's what they're going to emphasize. Then when you become #1 in Ghana, when they talk about West Africa, prepare yourself, don't go back and sleep because you have become #1 in Accra, in Ghana. Prepare for West Africa. When they talk about Africa, prepare yourself and come up. When they talk about #1 in the world, let it be an African youth. That's what we're going to emphasize. That's what we're going to emphasize. Again, we're going to emphasize on character deficiency. Lack of character can destroy any vision. Lack of character can destroy any dream. Can set somebody back. So, character. If we want to be diplomats, if we want to be future leaders, we need to have character. Those are the things we are going to define. We are going to emphasize. There is something. The empires of the future. We are going to talk about what will the future need. Who will be what in the future, and what is the tomorrow asking? How is tomorrow asking us to? The empires of the future is not going to be built with walls and gates. It's not going to build marbles and that. It's not going to be built with bombs and armaments. In some African countries, you see people sneaking guns and bombs in some African countries. I mean, somebody will have it. Of course, if it is a trained man that wins the war, not his weapon. If you are not trained and you have the weapon, your weapon will be useless. It is the trained man, it is the trained boxer that become a champion, not his gloves. We want to emphasize what will the future need, how we prepare for the future. Please, I want to thank both of you because you have made some important. Listen, there's something. I went to a youth program. My friend told me, we invited him to speak in that program. He told me something that I will not forget easily. The last born of the mother had eye problem. Finally, the boy got blind. The family came together and decided to take that boy to a rehabilitation center, a place called Apodim. There are people from Nigeria, from Imo State, from Apodim, the rehabilitation, the boy there. After some time, the boy wrote a letter to his brother and said, please come and take me out of this place. I didn't come to the world to mold basket. You came to the world to be a shelter, to be a blessing, to impact life. You didn't come to the world to mold basket. The boy told the brother, I didn't come to the world. Take me out of this place. They brought me from Lagos to Apodi and asked me, are you the one who wrote this? Yes, take me out of this place. They took him to Afara in Nomai, School of the Blind. He beat all the students. They took him to Fisher Government College in Nomai. He was one of the best students. When he took JAM to go to the university, he came on holidays. His brother asked him, which university do you apply? He said, the number one university, University of Nigeria, Soka. They asked him, which course do you want to read? He said, I want to read international relations because I want to have something to do with the whole world. A blind young. So, you are not physically challenged. You are not blind. Please, sit down and know what the tomorrow demands and prepare yourself for it.
To make a quick remark, I just personally, I just want to thank God for how much He's blessed me. You know, for the work we do, I am so blessed. There is no, I would pay $1 billion to do what I do. There is so much blessing in doing what we do. Job that gives, that supports other people. I want to challenge you, whatever you do, if you spend your time helping other people, you can never be unhappy. I am so blessed. If you're looking for somebody who is blessed, I'm here. And I tell people all over the world that I'm the happiest person alive. I'm the happiest human being on earth. If you haven't met the happiest person, he's talking to you right now. I am so happy. I'm so fulfilled. I'm so blessed. I remember 6 years ago when I walked to the prisons, the female prisons here in Ghana. I walked there and I said to the officer in charge, can you give me some inmates that have no one that cares for them so that we can try and help? I didn't walk in there with $1 million check. I didn't have a lot of money. But she brought me 5 inmates, 1 from Kenya, I think 2 from Nigeria, and 2 from Ghana. Because many of them are foreigners, they have no family here in Ghana that supports them. And the officer in charge introduced me and said, this gentleman is here and is looking for people in the prison that they can help. Because prison life is really tough. Food is bad. When you're in prison for 10 years and more, you need to do some vocational training, so you need someone to pay for all of that for you. There are people there who are doing catering and all of that. Someone must pay for them. And you know what? In that moment, this lady from Kenya started jumping up and down with tears running down her face. He said, you know what? I've been praying for an angel to come and help me in this chair. You are that angel. And I'll never forget that. And you know, we're able to support her until last year, December 24th, when she was released and flown back to her country, Kenya. And today she's chatting up with me. But I want to read this for you. One of the blind boys that we've been supporting. Blind boy in Form 2 in senior high school. He's not yet in Form 3, but as a blind boy, he wrote the final exams to come to the university. And this is his results. November, December results. He's not completed Form 3. Blind boy. Emmanuel Asamoah. Social studies, A1. English language, B2. Government, A1. History, A1. Literature in English, B2. French, A1. This is a blind boy. This is a blind boy. If each one of us can take one little child and invest in that child, even at your level, you'll be amazed at the kind of joy, the kind of doors that will open for you. And I want to say thanks to God for giving me this great job to be involved with. Thank you.
And then it's not just about investing money in them. Sometimes just a word of encouragement, just a form of motivation, just some inspiration will go a long way to help. Don't think that you always have to have money. It's not all about money. Sometimes just a kind word, just to tell the person, I believe in you. Nobody believes in your dream, but I believe in your dream. Not only do you believe in the dream, empower the person with the necessary skills that the person needs to be able to achieve the dream. It will go a long way to change the world. It's not just about money. Have that in mind. Most of us don't have money, but we'll still continue to encourage people and inspire people, because I believe this young man, in just about 10 or 15 years, can change the whole of this nation. And it will be because somebody believed in him and gave him that opportunity. Let's open doors for other people. Let's give people the opportunity.